I'm Nadia Ely, and welcome to Grid Resiliency and Beyond. This series showcases our leaders and subject matter experts who highlight the strides and innovations Dominion Energy is making. Today's discussion covers the company's Federal Energy Solutions arm, which provides low-cost, reliable electric and natural gas service to a wide variety of government facilities. Here to tell us more are the Director and Manager of Federal Energy Solutions, Paul Matthews and Eric Tatum. Thanks for being with me. Paul, let's start with you. Can you walk us through the benefits of Federal Energy Solutions and what Dominion Energy's footprint is as it relates to system ownership under utilities privatization?
Sure. Thanks, Nadia. Well, I think the biggest benefit of Federal Energy Solutions is that we've really developed a win-win business model. We're able to provide important services to our military installations and other federal and non-federal customers while delivering financial results for Dominion Energy and also really improving the reputation of Dominion Energy. We're often referred to as privatization, but that's really just one of our business lines. In addition to utilities privatization, where we own, operate, and maintain utility systems on military installations, we're also focused in other areas under Federal Energy Solutions. Our utility energy services contracting business, often referred to as UESC, is where we perform energy efficiency upgrades on government-owned facilities. We do work under the area-wide contract, where we perform upgrades to government-owned utility systems. And our newest area of focus is looking at how we can assist colleges and universities that own their own utility systems. One of the unique things about our business, and especially our privatization business, is that it's unregulated. We can operate outside of our regulated service territories. This business started in Virginia, where we have multiple contracts, including Fort Story, Fort Eustis, Fort Gregg Adams, Fort Belvoir, Fort Myer, Henderson Hall, and Arlington National Cemetery. But we also have a strong presence outside of Virginia, with contracts at Fort McNair in Washington, D.C., Fort Cavazos in Texas, and Fort Jackson in South Carolina. And our most recent contract is an O&M contract at the Navy Yard in Philadelphia.
Thank you, Paul. Eric, turning to you now. I've heard mention of the base of tomorrow concept. Can you explain exactly what that is?
Sure. And thanks, Nadia, for having us. And we're really thrilled to be able to share our Federal Energy Solutions story. Our Base of Tomorrow implementation plan is the foundation for how we operate on our privatized installations. This methodical approach is significant because it ensures that the underlying infrastructure is improved, allows us to gain system expertise, and supports the integration of new technologies. It also ensures that investments in sustainability improvements and renewables are maximized. Base of Tomorrow is an efficient installation that achieves a reliable, resilient, and sustainable energy supply from power generator to end user by incorporating a diverse set of energy solutions in an integrated and optimal way. Dominion Energy's Base of Tomorrow implementation strategy ensures that reliability, resilience, efficiency, and sustainability are embedded in everything that we do and are implemented in a cost-effective manner. In summary, Dominion Energy developed our Base of Tomorrow implementation strategy to ensure that our utility-level expertise was leveraged in a fully integrated way as we work to improve the reliability, resilience, efficiency, and sustainability of our privatized installation. As a result, we have delivered exceptional results in a cost-effective manner and have greatly improved the readiness of our installations and missions. We recognize that there are challenges, but there is no doubt that Dominion Energy and our utility privatization contracts provide the lowest risk, most flexible, and most cost-effective methodology to deliver required improvements to our installations.
Thanks, Eric. Paul, back to you. I understand we have an outstanding story to tell as it relates to service reliability and resiliency. Can you talk to me about how reliability has increased and outages have decreased on the installations where we have these UP contracts?
As Eric mentioned, Nadia, we really have delivered exceptional results. We've reduced outages across our privatized privatized installations by 87 to 100%. That's exceptional. On our older contracts, we fully implemented our reliability and resilience improvements, and we really seeing the benefits. And we're well on our way on our newer contracts to delivering similar results. This is really important because the main driver of the government privatizing these military installations was the impact that the condition of the government-owned systems, and especially the number of outages they were having, was impacting their mission. So when we can deliver this level of reliability and resilience, it means that they can maintain their focus on mission and not worry about their utility systems. I would also add that at many locations, we've ensured that mission is sustained even when there is an outage. We've installed 68 simple microgrids and 5 advanced microgrids on our privatized installations at mission-critical facilities that provide sustainability in the unlikely event that we do experience an outage.
Eric, coming back to you now. Thank you, Paul. What's the process that we go through to get one of these contracts?
This is really a two-step process issued by the government. First, a source's SALT is submitted and put out to all competitors, and then that source's SALT is followed by a request for proposal, which is an RFP. This is usually a 36 to 48 month process from start to finish. Yes, total of 3 to 4 years. So let's talk about the source's SALT first. A source's SALT notice is an essential step in determining market interest and feasibility in accordance with FAR Part 10 and is for information and planning purposes only. This notice is solely for the government's use as a market research tool. This notice does not constitute a request for proposal or a solicitation or request for quotes. If determined appropriate, then both a synopsis and solicitation may be anticipated. So in the source's SALT, interested parties should provide a statement of interest basically on company letterhead. And at a minimum, the statement of interest shall address the following criteria: capability and experience, financial capacity, understanding of any applicable state or local utility law, understanding of the federal, state, and local environmental laws and regulations, and the government request the source's SALT capabilities and estimated total time frame to initiate and complete extensive medium voltage supply infrastructure projects. Typically, when a source's SALT is issued by the government, we have 1 month to respond to that notice. Generally after that, about 6 months after we respond, then the source's SALT turns into an RFP, which would be issued by the government. So let's spend a moment talking about the RFP. The RFP describes systems to be privatized. Utilities privatization consists of really 2 transactions: the conveyance of the utility infrastructure via a bill of sale and the acquisition of utility services on a privatized system via a utility services contract. Through the RFP, the government seeks a contractor to assume ownership of the utility system and the infrastructure as a new owner to operate and maintain the systems and provide utility services to the government. The desired goal of the conveyance is to transfer all rights, title, and interests of the government to the new utility system owner. And the system owner shall furnish all labor, management, supervision, permits, certifications, equipment, materials to transfer the system to their ownership, including operation, maintenance, repair, upgrade, and improvements to the system. So when an RFP is issued, we generally have about 6 months to respond to that RFP. After we respond, which could be a year later or so, we will hear from the government that we have been down selected and face-to-face negotiations are then opened. These face-to-face negotiations generally span about 6 months. After that, about 6 months later, the government typically will render a final decision. So again, these are lengthy procurements and solicitations, like I said earlier, about 3 to 4 years to complete. And as a side note, Dominion Energy has been very successful in this space. We have a 70% success rate on these solicitations that we submit a bid. which is really a phenomenal success rate on a government contracting space.
Thank you, Eric, for explaining that. Paul, are there full-time Dominion Energy employees in offices on the installations? And can you talk to me about what the organization looks like at any given installation?
I think that is one of the keys to our success is our staffing model. We can adjust based on the size, location, and requirements of given installation. But one thing we always have is a core Dominion Energy team on site. And this team includes a manager, a supervisor of operations and construction, and a project designer. This team is supplemented with proven Dominion Energy contractors that can support us during day-to-day operations and also during major weather events. We then take this core model of 3 Dominion Energy employees and we ramp it up as needed. For example, at Fort Jackson, we added 2 local area supervisors to the team. And at Fort Cavazos, we have a much larger Dominion Energy presence since it's a larger installation. And we have also privatized the natural gas distribution system at Fort Cavazos.
Thanks, Paul. And finally, this question is for both of you. What has the response been from our federal clients? Eric, I'll start with you, and Paul, kindly weigh in as well.
There are many, many examples that I could share. First, we participate in a lot of safety and wellness days on all of our installations. About a year ago, May of 2023, we participated in one of those at Fort Belvoir. And as a result, we received from the U.S. Army Garrison, the Garrison Commander, we received a certificate of appreciation presented to us for participating in their Safety, Health, Wellness, and Resiliency Expo. Second example, this past January, we hosted a tour of the Central ROC for Fort Gregg Adams, the Office of Energy Initiatives, and Edison Electric Institute. And this is a note that we specifically received from the Garrison Commander at Fort Gregg Adams after this particular tour that we hosted. Quote, "Thanks, Eric and Billy and the entire team. Truly a highlight event to spend time with you all, understand DE in greater detail, and see the ROC was time well spent. Thanks for putting it together. Always a pleasure to partner with you and all of your teammates. Best to you all. Colonel Jim Hoyman, Garrison Commander, Fort Gregg Adams." The Fort Cavazos Director of Public Works and Dominion Energy proved the saying, "Teamwork makes the dream work." Back on May 12th, a microburst with 1.5 to 2-inch hail and winds gust at a minimum of 65 miles per hour caused more than 200 facilities to lose power at Fort Cavazos. Brian Doser, the DPW director at Fort Cavazos, said the great partnership between the DPW and Dominion Energy allowed for the repairs to be made so efficiently. We were super blessed to have Dominion Energy as our partners so that when the storm happened, they were able to respond quickly. I'm very proud of Kevin and his team and their ability to respond. We had 22 broken poles and 13 damaged poles. Previously, this damage would hinder operations for days, but at Fort Cavazos, the restoration teams were on site within an hour. All critical facilities were restored within 90 minutes, and 95% of the overall service points were restored within 4 hours, and the entire system was restored within 36 hours following the storm, all while prioritizing health, life, and safety.
And I just want to just highlight something. Eric covered that well, and especially the Fort Cavazos example, because that really highlights the response we get from the federal government. And I just want to highlight one thing he mentioned, the quote from Mr. Dosa, the Director of Public Works, and that was the phrase, "super blessed to have Dominion Energy as their partners." And I do think that's probably the best way to sum up the response we get from our federal customers. I think they see the work we do, they understand the work we do, and the feedback we get is that it really allows them to execute mission. So I think that really highlights the response that we get from our federal clients, really based on the exceptional work that our entire team delivers every day.
I'd like to thank Eric Tatum and Paul Matthews for their expertise and participation. Thanks for listening, and be on the lookout for future episodes. I'm Nadia Ely.